Hello everyone, welcome back to my SAT classroom. Today I want to make a special video again. This video is to summarize all formulas for SAT. All formulas that you have to know before you go to SAT test. Before I start my lecture, please click subscribe and likes and then turn on the notification. Let's start. The first chapter is about number properties. Type of numbers. What is integer numbers? Integer number is any counting numbers, including negative numbers, zero, and positive numbers. So negative integer and zero and positive integers. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, all these negative counting numbers, and 0, and positive 1, positive 2, positive 3, all positive integer. We call these positive integer numbers natural number, right? Natural number. We call these two, 0 and natural number, together whole numbers. Whole numbers. Real numbers, numbers that appears on the number line, including pi, square root 2. So real number has two different types, rational and irrational. These numbers, example of irrational numbers. Irrational number, when numbers cannot express to the form of fraction, rational number is any numbers that can be expressed by fraction forms. Okay, so one thing, be careful. 0.212121, these two numbers keep repeating forever. Okay, repeating decimal numbers. This is a rational number. You can change that to fraction like 21/99. Okay, so this kind of numbers are rational numbers. And then positive number is greater than 0, and negative number is always less than 0. 0 is neither positive nor negative. Okay, order of operation, PEMDAS. Everybody knows PEMDAS, right? P means parentheses, E means exponent, and then multiplication and division, addition and subtraction. It is order of operation. There's an example here. 2 plus 6 over 2 times 5 minus 1 whole thing is 6 square. So parentheses first. Calculate 5 minus 1 first. That's 4. And then next one is exponent. It's exponent second. So it is 16. And then multiplication. Yeah. And then last is addition. Something like this, right? Yep. It is order of operation. Remember the PEMDAS. Next problem. Commutative, associative, distributive properties. What is commutative properties? There are two different kinds of, right? Addition and multiplication. Commutative property of addition means A plus B equals B plus A. Multiplication, A times B equals B times A. Associative property. So A plus B first, and then add C, that is equal to B plus C, add first, and then add A later. That doesn't matter. For the multiplication, yeah, A times B first or B times C first. That doesn't matter. We call this property associative property. Distributive property. Everybody knows that, right? A times B, A times C. Okay? So minus same thing. A times B, AB minus AC. Sometimes you have to understand that backward, right? We call that common factor factoring. AB plus AC. That equals take out common factor and then B plus C. It's kind of backward of a distributive property. Go to the next page. Number operation, you have to understand what is a prime number. What does a prime number mean? Prime number is a number that have only two factors, one and itself, divisible by only by itself and one, like 2, 3, 5, 7, then 11, 13, keep going like this, right? Yeah. 1 is not prime number because 1 has only one factor. 2 is a small list and the only even prime number, that is 2. 0 and negative cannot be prime numbers. Prime number is only natural number basis. That means only positive integer numbers. So just to memorize, all prime numbers, yeah, below 20, less than 20, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19. It is helpful. If you memorize all these numbers, it helps a lot to solve some SAT problems. Now, what is factorization? Factorization is use a prime factor to express numbers, right? Just multiplication or exponents, use multiplying or exponent to express a number of what? Prime factor only. Prime factor means factor of number and then prime number at the same time. So for example, 60's prime factorization is what? 60 is 2 times 30, and then 30 is 2 times 15, 15 3 times 5. Think about that, 2 times 2 times 3 times 5, that is 60, right? All these numbers prime factors of 60. So 2 squared times 3 times 5, this is the factorization form of 60. And the next, greatest common factor. We call that GCF, greatest common factor. For example, 12 and 30. How can you find the greatest common factor? 12 and 30. Find the common prime factor of these two numbers. I think 2 times 6, and 2 times 15, right? Then what is the next common prime factor of this number? 3 times 2, 3 times 5. We have no anymore, right? Then multiply all these common prime factors of those two numbers, which is 6. So 6 is GCF, greatest common factor. What is LCM? LCM is the least common multiple. Least common multiple. Okay, how can you find it? If you have to find that 9 and 15s, 9 and 15s, the greatest, the least common multiple. Just to find that common prime factor of two number. That's a 3, right? 3 times 3, 3 times 5. There is 3 and 5 have not any common prime factor anymore, and then multiply all these numbers. It's 45, right? So 45 is the least common multiple. Okay. What about this? I give you one formula between the greatest common factor and the least common multiples. The LCM, we call the L is LCM, G is GCF, G times L, the greatest common factor times the least common multiple. That is always product of two numbers. So G means what? Greatest common factor of A and B. The L means the least common multiple of A and B. The product of G times G and L is equal to the product of A and B. That formula always works. Okay, divisibility. If a number is divisible by 3, that means the number sum is of all digits of that number should be divisible by 3. To find that, in the other word, to find 3 multiples, right? One number is given, how can we know that number is 3 multiples or divisible by 3? Add all digits, and then if the sum of all digits of that number is divisible by 3, that means the number is 3 multiples. For example, 972, 972. This number is divisible by 3. Yes, it is because 9 plus 7 plus 2, that is 18. 18 is 3 times 6. The 8 is divisible by 3. That means this number is divisible by 3. How can you know the 4 multiples? If last 2-digit number, just think about only last 2-digit number. If last 2 digit number divisible by 4, then number is 4 multiples or divisible by 4. For example, any big number doesn't matter. Yeah, 1024 is a very big number, but it is divisible by 4. Yes, it is very easy to tell this because 24, last 2-digit number, is 4 multiples, divisible by 4. So this whole number, 1024, is divisible by 4. Everybody knows how to find the divisible by 5. The last number is 5 over 0. That's it. 6 means what? 6 is 2 multiples at the same time 3 multiples. So how can you tell 2 multiples, all even number 2 multiples, right? And the sum of all digits is divisible by 3. That means the number is divisible by 3. So if a number, okay, even number at the same time, 3 multiples, then that number gonna be 6 multiples. A multiples, last 3 digit is divisible by 8. That number is 8 multiples. 9 multiples of a digit divisible by 9 like 3 multiples. That number gonna be 9 multiples. Okay, fast fractions. If you understand this formula, sometimes this formula really help you a lot to solve some problem. 1 over x plus 1 over y is x plus y over xy. For example, 1 over 2 plus 1 over 5, just add 2 and 5, 7 over, multiply 2 and 5, 10. It's very easy, right? Absolute value make always positive, right? Absolute value of 5 is 5. The absolute value of negative 5 is actually 5. Sometimes you have to solve absolute value equation. Absolute value of x minus 2 is equal to 5. And then solve it twice. X minus 2 can be 5. And x minus 2 can be negative 5. X equals 7. Or x equals negative 3. It has two answers like this. Okay? What about percentage? Percent means what? Per 100. 19% means 19 over 100. Okay, 0.43% means 0.43 over 100, which means 43 over 10,000. 10,000. So how can you find that some problem using percentage? Part of a whole is a percent over 100. Usually this equation very useful. For example, 120 over 800 people in the town smoke, then 100 over 800 should be equal to percentage over 100. So that percentage is 15, so 15%. So let this percent x, 120 over 800 equals x percent over 100. Okay, cross multiplying 800x equals 120, 00, 20, 20, and divide by 8x equals 15, so 15%. One more time, part over whole is equal to percent over 100. Use that equation. How can you find the percent change? A lot of problems in SAT is about percent change, percent increase or percent decrease. To find the percent change, find the change first. How much increased or how much decreased. The change over original value before changing and times 100. That will be percent change. Okay, some examples here. The price is something goes from $40 to $52. What is the percent change? Percent increase, right? So what is the change between 40 and 52? $12. So 12 change over. Original before changing, that's 40, right? So that times 100 is equal to 30%. It's not that much hard, right? It's easy. Ratio problem. We use A to B equals to C to D, something like that, right? So A to B is equal to C to D. And then A and C have same kind of value, and B and D should be same kind of length to weight, should be equal to length to weight. The order actually matters for these problems. How can you solve this problem? Change this ratio equation to fraction form. A over B equals C over D, and you can cross multiplying AD equals BC. Sometimes three ratios, right? X to Y to Z, like A to B to C. Three ratio problems, and the A to B is given, then B to C is given, and then find the A to C, something like that. A to B is 1 to 2, and then B to C is 3 to 5. What is A to C equals? A to C equals, that's a question. How can you find this? Just write A, B, C together. A to B to C. A to B is 1 to 2, B to C is 3 to 5. And then find same number for this common number B. So how can you find that? 2 and 3 is common multiple. The least common multiple is 6, right? 2 times 3 is 6. So 1 to 2 means 3 to 6. And then 3 to 5 means 6 to 10. So A to B to C is 6 to 3 to 6 to 10. So what is A to C? 3 to 10. You can solve three ratio problem like this. Okay, there are a lot of practice problem here, but I'm not going to solve practice problem. Next, power and root. Exponents. You know what is 2 to the 5th powers means? 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Yeah, it is 32. We call that 2 to the 5th powers, right? X to the third means x times x times x. So you have to understand some laws, some rules about exponents. So a to the x power, x to the a powers times a to the b powers. They have same base, and then multiply together, and then just add what? To exponent. Okay? If same base, exponential expression divided by x to the a power over x to the bth power. In that case, just subtract denominators exponent from numerators. So x to the a minus b. Power, x to the a power and whole thing's b power. In that case, just multiply two powers. It is wrong. X to the a times b. That's right. All right. Any numbers 0 power is 1. Any numbers 0 power is always 1. Sometimes you have to understand radical and exponential expressions or relations. Square root x means x to the 1/2 powers. Cube root means 1/3 powers. So cube root x squared, that means x squared is 1/3 power. So by power of power, multiply by 2 powers, 2/3 power. Okay, negative power is 1 over positive power. X to the negative second power, 1 over x to the second power. So x to the negative power is 1 over x to the same numbers, positive power. That makes sense, right? If the base is a negative number, right? Negative 2 to the 4th power is negative 2 times negative. Even power, negative base to even power is positive, negative base to odd power is a negative number, right? Negative 2 to the 4th power, that is not equal to negative 2 to the 4th power. Okay? That 4th power affects negative 2, but this 4th power doesn't affect negative sign, it affects only positive. Only 2, so it's different. It is positive 32, positive 16, but this is negative 16. Because that power doesn't affect to negative sign. Because there is no parenthesis. They are different numbers. Okay? What about even and odd exponents? So you understand x squared 4, right? In this case, what is x equals? It's plus or minus 2 because negative number is positive. Even power is still positive number. But what about x cubed? X cubed is odd power, right? If that is 8, x equals plus or minus 2? No, it is just positive 2 only. If x cubed is negative 8, and then x is negative 2. That makes sense, right? So on even power, they have plus or minus. Next problem. Okay, how can you simplify roots or cube root? Okay, just a square root. Any squared number inside square root can go outside. So square root 20, that means square root 4 times 5, 4 is 2 square. It is 2 square. So square number can go outside. So 2 root 5. What about cube root? The same thing. What about 40? Cube root 40, that is 8 times 5, right? 8 is what? 2 cubed times 5 is cube root. And then cubed number can go outside only. 2 cubed root 5. That makes sense, right? We can add or subtract only like terms, right? 2 root 7 and 9 root 7 looks like terms. If they have same radical expression, radical part, we can add just this coefficient, 2 plus 9. Looks like 2a plus 9a equals 11a, something like that. 2 root 7 plus 9 root 7, 11 root 7. All right, let's go next chapter. Algebra. Simplifying expressions. We can just add or subtract only like terms. 6xy and 4xy like terms. So in that case, 6 minus 42, so 2xy. And then negative, positive, so 5x. It has no any like terms. And then negative 3y is positive 3y. This is the simplest form. Multiplying monomials. When you multiply monomials, just multiply numbers first. 5 times 6 is what? 30. And then y cubed times y to the second power, just this, right? We just run that if two same base exponential expression multiplied, in that case with the same basis, just add exponent. 3 plus 2 is 5. So fifth powers. So 30 y to the fifth. And then this is distributive property, right? The hard error. What is the FOIL? FOIL means first, outer, inner, last. The first x squared, okay, outer 7x, inner 2x, last is 14. And then these two, like terms, 7x plus 2x is 9x. And then you have to memorize these three things. Please memorize these three formulas, please. A plus B whole thing squared. Many people confuse and use the wrong way this formula. A plus B squared is not equal to A squared plus B squared. That is not. A minus B whole thing squared is not equal to A squared minus B squared. Be careful, it is wrong. A plus B whole thing squared is A squared plus 2AP plus B squared. A minus whole thing squared is A squared minus 2AP plus B. It is wrong, it's plus B squared. And then, how can you factor A squared minus B squared? Squared number minus squared number is A plus B times A minus B. Please memorize all these three. And then you have to understand how to factor, okay? How to factor. So the basic is common factor factoring. 3 terms, 4 terms, 5 terms, 2 terms, any term. How many terms doesn't matter. If all given terms have common factor, take that out first. 6x cubed, 12x squared, 33x have 3x. All these three terms have common factor of 3x. Take it out and then put the parentheses and then think about 3x times what is 6x cubed? Definitely 2x squared, right? And then 3 times what is 12x squared? That's 4x. 3x times one number is 33x. That's 11. Okay, put those numbers inside the parentheses. Okay, and then factoring formula, we just run the a squared minus b squared, a plus b times a minus b is kind of very important factoring formula, right? And then what about foiling? Okay, you can do foiling this. You can find the same results anyway. So a plus b times a minus b is always a squared minus b squared. For example, a 2x minus 3y, 2x plus 3y. A is 2x, b is 3y, so a squared minus b squared. So 4x squared minus 9y squared. And then you know how to factor this, right? Let's practice this quickly. X squared plus 5x negative 14. X times x, definitely x squared. One number times one number is 14. 2 times 7. And then one of these numbers is positive, but the other one is negative because negative 14. Then sum of those two numbers has to positive 5. That's why negative and positive. Got it, right? Yep. Before you use any formulas, at first, if all terms have common factor, take out common factor first, and then think about inside the parentheses, still factorable, right? And then keep going. It is a squared minus 2ab plus b squared form. It's perfect square form. That's why it's 3x minus 1 whole thing is square. Or you can just factor this part, 3x times 3x, which is 9x squared. That's why 3x is here. Then 1 and 1, right? The 1 supposed to be positive, 1 supposed to be negative because the product, both negative because product of these two numbers is positive 1, negative 3x, negative 3x is going to be negative 6x here, right? That's why this is 3x minus 1 whole thing square. Okay? You practice factoring more. Factoring is used in any area of math, right? Even the factoring is used to simplify rational expressions. Looks like this. Okay, to simplify some expressions in the fraction form, you have to factor first, and then cross out same factors, top and bottom. And then you can find that simplest form of the expression. Next problem, solving equation. Solving equation is find x value, the value of variable, to satisfy with the given equations. So all these equations very easy, right? I'm not going to explain that part. How can I solve this problem? Kind of a fraction form, right? So in this case, fraction form, you just multiply the LCM of denominators. So at the least common multiple of 4, 2, and 3. That is 12. if you multiply by 12 at every single term, they're gonna be like this, right? It changed to normal, just normal equations, and this will be for x. Okay, sometimes you can just cross multiplying the fraction form. One fraction form equals the other one fraction form, the left side, the right side. In this case, cross multiply is best way. There's 7 times 2x minus 2 is equal to 3 times 6x minus 6. Cross multiply. Product of 2 cross multiplying should be equal to each other. And then quadratic equation. There are 3 ways to solve quadratic equation: factoring and completing the square, and then quadratic formula. Basic, easiest one is what? Factoring. If you factor this quadratic equation and then find that each factor is 0, which value of x make x minus 2 equal to 0? That's 2, right? X minus 5 equals, that's 5. So x equals 2 or x equals 5. That's positive 2, not negative 2. 2 or 5. And another one is quadratic formula. Do you understand quadratic formula, right? How can you find that in solution of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 using quadratic equation? X equals what? Negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Use this formula sometimes. Then system of equation. Okay, system of equation. Elimination. Sometimes elimination. Sometimes use substitution. Sometimes graph method. So you know how can you find the elimination? Okay, just make the same coefficient of one variable. Add or subtract. In this case, add plus 2y plus negative 2y gonna be 0. The 8x equals 40. Find the x value first, and then plug in the number back in the one over the equation and find the y value. We call this is what? Elimination. Substitution is what? So solve for one variable. Looks like if you use that substitution, x minus y equals 3, right? So x equals 3 plus y. Then plug in, substitute 3 plus y for x here. And you can find the y value first, and then find the x value. We call that substitution. But graph method, you don't have to use graph method to solve equation, but you have to understand meaning of a graph method. If you draw 2 graphs, if they have one intersection point, the intersection point x coordinate and y coordinate. Actually, this x value and y value is a solution of system of equation. So you have to understand intersection point x, y coordinates, solution of system of equations. Next. Function notation. What does f of negative 2 means? F of negative 2 means y value when x equals negative 2. To find f of negative, plug in negative 2 into x for x. If fx equals absolute value x squared minus 4, what is f of negative 2? Plug in negative 2 into the function for x. They're going to be 0. That means f of negative 2 is 0. That means y value is 0 when x equals negative 2. Okay, so what is f of a plus 2 in this case? That means what? A plus 2 whole things square minus 4. Plug in a plus 2 for x. Okay, inequalities, to solve inequalities exactly the same as solving an equation, but one thing is different. If 2x is less than 1 equals 8, okay, what is x equals? X is divided by negative 2, divided by negative 2, that's x, right? And then negative 4, right? But if you divide both sides of inequality by negative number, that direction could be changed, switched. Okay, from less than or equal to greater than equal to. It was greater than, it must be changed to less than only when the inequality divided by or multiplied by negative numbers. Be careful for that. Absolute value inequalities sometimes, there are many problems about absolute value in SAT. Absolute value of x is less than 3. You can solve like this. X is between negative 3 and 3. Between negative 3 and 3. What if it's greater than? That means x is greater than positive number or less than negative number. Okay? Next. Let's keep practice problem. Geometry part. Angle part. If two parallel lines cut by one transversal line, they form 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 angles, right? These red color angles, 4 angles congruent, and then these 4 blue color angles are congruent. These 4 angles congruent, and then these 4 angles are congruent. You don't have to know the angle pair's name, but you have to know which angle should be congruent, okay? And then triangle. How can you find the triangle's area? Always base times height over 2. 1/2 times base times height. That is a formula to find the area of a triangle. Okay? And then what is triangle's inequalities? There is what 3 side ABC. Any side always between sum of the other 2 sides and difference between the other 2 sides. So any side of a triangle's length should be between difference of the other sides and sum of the other sides. We call this inequality triangle inequalities. Now, another way we have to understand is that bigger angles, opposite sides is longer. Okay, smaller angles, opposite sides is shorter always. The right triangle, we know the Pythagorean theorem, right? That always works for the only right triangle. A squared plus B squared is C squared. So sometimes you have to understand some ratio of right triangles. 30 degrees, 60 degree, 90 degree triangles. 30 degrees, 60 degree, 90 degree triangles. Ratio of 3 sides is 1, 2, root of 3, 2, 2. And 45 degree, 90 degree triangles. Ratio of 3 sides 1, 2, 1, 2, root 2, 2. Okay, not only these two triangles, sometimes you have to understand 3 to 4 to 5. You call the Pythagorean numbers. It kind of ratio of 3 sides of a special right triangle is used much in the SAT. Or 5 to 12 to 13. If you memorize the 4 ratio, 1 to root 3 to 2, 1 to 1 to root 2, 3 to 4 to 5, 5 to 12 to 13. Next. Okay, equilateral triangle. So I'm going to ask you just to memorize the area for equilateral triangle. If one side is S, how can you find the area of equilateral triangle? Root 3 S squared over 4. Memorize and use it. Okay. Rectangles. Rectangles perimeter is what? 2 times length, because 2 lengths, 2 width, right? 2L plus 2W is perimeter. Why can you find the area of rectangles? Length times width. Okay, it is easy. Trapezoid. Trapezoid looks like that, right? One pair of opposite sides parallel. The other pair of opposite sides not parallel. How can you find area? This is base 1, this is base 2. So base 1 plus base 2 times height divided by 2. Base 1 times base 2, base 1 plus base 2 times height divided by 2. Use this formula to find area. And then how can you find the volume of rectangular prism? Okay, length times width times height. Okay, length times width times height. Length times width times height. How can you find that their longest diagonals? That distance equals square root of L squared plus W squared plus H squared. I'm going to ask you memorize this formula as well. The surface area, what? 2, height times width, 2 width times depth, and 2 height times depth, because 2 faces always congruent, right? Cylinder. Sorry, cylinder shape. This is a cylinder, right? How can you find the volume of cylinder? Base area times height. If the base circle's radius is r, pi r squared is area of the circle, right? Pi r squared times height. That is the volume. What about circle's area? Pi r. I just told you pi r squared. Circumference 2 pi r, or diameter times pi. Okay. One circle is one. Definitely, circle's central angle is what? 360 degree. How can you find the length of arc? Length of arc is circumference, which is 2 pi r, right? Circumference times x degree over 360. That is length of arc. How can you find the area of that sector? Area of sector is what? Area of circle pi r squared times central angle over 360 degree. because they have central angle and length of arc and central angle and sector, they are directly proportional to each other. That's why you multiply the portion of that angle x over 360 degree at circumference and area of circle. Next. Coordinate geometry. If 2 points are given, x1, y1, and then x2, y2. SAT asks you 3 things between 2 points. Number 1, they can ask you slope between 2 points. What is the formula? Slope is rise over run. Rise over run. In mx plus b form, m is slope. Positive slope means increasing lines. Negative slope means decreasing lines. Zero slope is horizontal lines. The vertical line has no slope. Okay? So what is the definition of slope? Rise over run. Rise means the y difference, run is x difference. So between 2 points, slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Memorize it. And sometimes they ask you, how can you find the distance between 2 points? The distance formula, right, is x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. They can ask slope between 2 points. They can ask distance between 2 points. They can ask you midpoint of 2 points as well. The midpoint is always x1 plus x2 over 2, and then y1 plus y1 plus y2 over 2. Just find the average of 2 x coordinates and then average of 2 y coordinates. All right. Okay, if there are 2 lines of parallel, right? Parallel lines always have same slope, and different y-intercept. Different y-intercept. Remember that parallel lines have same slope and different y-intercept. What about perpendicular lines? Perpendicular lines means they form 90 degree, right, at the intersection point. So slope of perpendicular lines. If one line slope is m, the other perpendicular line slope is -1 over m. We call this opposite reciprocals. So perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocals of slope. Quadratic function. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. We call this function quadratic function. That graph is shaped in parabola shapes. We call the shape parabola, right? Then if a is positive, it opens up. Yeah. If a is negative, opens down parabola. Okay. And then what is c? C is y-intercept. The most important formula in the quadratic function is x equals negative b over 2a. This is x coordinate of vertex. What? Vertex. So to find where is the vertex, use negative b over 2a, find x value of vertex, and then plug in that number into original function equation to find the y coordinate of vertex as well. That's all about quadratic function. All right, next problem. Word problem. There are so many word problems. So if you question says the sum of something total combined with increased by n, usually you're going to be addition. Okay, difference between less than, fewer than, decreases by, usually you can use subtraction. Okay, product of something times as many of this multiplication. Okay, out of 4, okay, numerator, denominator, right? Denominator, something kind of usually division. Okay, what about the inequality word problem? If sometimes you find at least, x is at least 5, that means that's greater than or equal to 5, right? What is the at most? At most means less than or equal to. So remember, okay, you can change that sentence to equation, right? Sometimes to solve a word problem. What about distance, rate, time formula? We use this, right? DRT triangle. So distance is rate rate means sometimes speed or velocity. Distance is rate times time. And then rate is distance over time. Time is distance over rate. Got it? And be careful, average speed is a little different. Average speed is always total distance over total time. Total distance over total time. Okay? So it's a very important part. Average speed is what? Total distance over total time. Work problem. Okay? 1 over total work, okay, is 1 over work rate 1 plus 1 over work rate 2. Okay? Output is always rate times time. Okay? The distance kind of output in that distance problem, right? Same thing. Not only distance, the output, how much product is made. The machine can make only 5 goods 1 hour, something like that, right? The rate times time is output, definitely. There are 2 different kinds of sequences problem in SAT. Arithmetic sequences and geometric sequences. Arithmetic sequences like this, keep adding the same number, 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. We call that 4, a common difference D. D is 4 in this case, right? The first term is A1. How can you find the nth term? A1 plus n minus 1 times D. This is the formula to find that nth term of arithmetic sequences. What about geometric sequences? In the geometric sequences, keep multiplying a number like this, times 2 times. We call that ratio R. R is 2 in this case, right? And how can you find the nth term of a geometric sequence? First term times R to the n minus 1 powers. Just memorize 2 formulas, right? An of arithmetic sequences and an of geometric sequences. Got it? Okay, statistics. Average or mean. I can find the average, total sum divided by n, but many average problem actually use sum formula instead of average formula, right? Sum of all data is equal to average or mean times the number of data. Use sum formula instead of average formula in many cases, right? What about median? Middle number. If there are even numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like even numbers, right? So even number of data has 2 middle numbers. 5 and 6, 2 middle numbers. 4 and 5. In this case, median is the average of those 2 numbers, 4.5. If all the number are given, it has only 1 middle number, such that middle number is a median. Mode is most frequent numbers. What is the range? Greatest number minus smallest number. Greatest value minus least value. And then weighted average. Equal proportion times group A average plus proportion times group B's average, something like that. Sum of all proportion times each group's average. We call that weighted average. Okay, example is a group of 2 girls and 4 boys. Okay, the girl's average height is 60. So 2 out of 6, right? 2 out of 6 because 2 girls and 4 boys. That is rate proportion of girls times girls average, right? 60 plus 4 out of boys times 66. That is 64. That makes sense? It is weighted average. That means what? Total average. Sometimes you can use that sum. You do sum. Sometimes sum of group A is plus sum of group B equals sum of total. Sometimes that equation is easier. Counting problem. Or means add, and the concept in the counting of probability problem using multiplying. A or B, that means A or B. How many possible cases A or B? A happens or B happens. That means the number of A happens plus number of B happens. But if A and B happen together, the intersection exists, you have to subtract A intersection B. Okay. So it's all basically add. But A is this, B is this. If those two events have some intersection area, you can subtract number of that part because count twice. All right. And fractional notation. What is n factorial? 5 factorial means what? 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Okay? That means that you have 5 people. So how many different lines you can make it with 5 people, right? Or we have n unique objects can be arranged n factorial ways. That makes sense? So we have 5 colors, then we can arrange 5 colors orderly. 5 factorial different ways. That is factorial concept. And what about that combination on permutation? Combination and permutation, NCR and MPR can be used to count all things are chosen out of n things. But for the combination problem, order doesn't matter. It's like that, order doesn't matter. In that case, NCR. If order matters, you're gonna NPR. So NCR, when the order doesn't matter, okay, you're gonna use NCR. For example, you can pick any 3 friends out of 5 people. The friends A, friends B, friends C, you chose that. A, B, C, or B, C, A, doesn't matter order, right? Order doesn't matter. So 5 combination 3. How can you calculate it? 5 times, 4 times, 3, multiply, keep 1 less than number 3 times, because 3 is here, and then 3 factorial. Divide by 3 factorial. That is NCR. What is MPR? Order doesn't, sometimes order really matters, right? So in that case, 5 permutation 3, just multiply 5 times 4 times 3. That's it. Okay? 60. It is 10. You don't have to memorize the formula. You don't have to memorize the formula. You have to know just how to calculate that. Okay? Next chapter, probability. Probability of A is number of outcome where A occurs. You get NA, right? Number of event A over total number of outcomes, N of total. That is probability. Okay, I told you and in probability on counting problem is multiplying. So PA times PB is equal to PA and B. Probability A and B happen together, then that is equal to probability event A happened times probability for event B happened. Okay, PA and B equal to PA times PB. But for the conditional probability, we call that conditional probability PB bar A. Sometimes essay asks you PB bar A. That means given that problem, what is the probability? And you can choose B given that A is already happened. Okay, you choose already girls, and then find the probability. Okay, that chosen girl is junior girls or senior, something like that. So in that case, P over B intersection A over P over, and you have to find that probability, right? B just in A, okay? Just probability in A is already chosen, A is already given. In A, find the probability, how many B's there. That makes sense, right? So P, just number of A intersection B divided by number of A. It is a very important part. We call that conditional probability. Geometric probability, just find area, right? So how can you find the probability of the shaded region? Find that area of shaded region over area of that entire area. Entire region. That is a probability of shaded region. Use area, right? Okay, so probability part is done. Okay, but this packet actually missed the trigonometry part. I quickly give you trigonometry. SOHCAHTOA, you have to understand SOHCAHTOA. In a triangle, this angle is A, right triangle. This is B, C. So this length is A, length is B, C. What is sine A? Opposite over hypotenuse. So A's opposite side is A, hypotenuse longest side, A over C. Cosine A means what? Adjacent, which is B over C. TOA, tangent A equals opposite A over adjacent. Okay, what is sine B? Sine B is B over C, because opposite is B now. B over C. What is cosine B? Cosine B adjacent is A now. A over C. What about tangent B? That equals B over A. Okay, so can you find that sine A is equal to cosine B? Then sine B is cosine A. Why? Because sum of A and B, angle A plus angle B is 90 degrees. Angle A and angle B are complementary angles. For the complementary angles, sine of one angle is equal to always cosine of the other angle of complementary angles. Sine 30 is cosine 60 always. So sine A is cosine 90 minus A. Because A and 90 minus A complementary angles. That makes sense, right? Yeah, I explained all formulas already that you have to know, okay, before you go to SAT test. I really hope, okay, this lecture help you to summarize all the formulas for SAT. Thank you so much for watching my video, and then see you later. Bye-bye.